Welcome to the InSession Film Podcast for May 18th, 2014. This is episode 65, and I'm JD Duran.
I am Blake Pertuzit.
And I am Brent Allen.
Brent, thanks for being here on the show. I think this is your third time on the podcast.
Numero
and
Trace.
You've had at least one extra film segment that I'm aware of.
Yeah, we've done a few.
Yeah, and so it's great to have you back on the show. What you been up to lately?
Man, been up to a lot. We've been traveling around the Midwest here a lot lately, doing some of my comedy shows that we have out there. Been going to awesome places like Paris, Kentucky, and Maryville, Tennessee, and Fort Wayne, Indiana. Much love to Fort Wayne.
My brother lives in Fort Wayne.
There you go. Well, hey, JD's brother, come on out to 4D's Bar and Grill in 2 weeks, and I will be there to make you laugh.
Very fun. And how can people find you on the internet?
You can follow me on Twitter at Brent Allen Live, or you can check me out on Facebook, also at Brent Allen Live, or hit up my website, BrentAllenLive.com, where we'll soon be updating new tour dates and some videos and doing some new stuff with the website. So
very fun. And thanks again for being here. On this week's show, we're going to be reviewing the new Godzilla that just came out, as last week we did the original. So that should be a really fun review. And going off of that, Blake and I have been figuring out a way to really name this, but we're just going to go with our top 3 holy oh my god moments in film. That's really the best way to describe it. Now, we'll get more to that here in a little bit, though. And then also be on the lookout for our bonus content this week. We'll have some Godzilla spoilers there. And we'll finish off the show with films we got to see of last week, as usual. Before we get into it, I know, Brent, you just kind of talked about it a little bit, but how was your guys' week this last week?
Well, for the most part, pretty good here, except for the earlier part of the week was probably, I think I had the worst day of my life ever on Wednesday.
Oh, so sorry.
Oh, well, I had to go all the way up to Cincinnati for some training stuff for work there. And on my way, I got my first ever speeding ticket in Cincinnati.
Oh.
Thank you, Ohio State Police. And I'm from Ohio, so I shouldn't have any bad things to say, but total jerk. So there goes.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Ohioans tend to be that way.
I guess I earned it. 80-65, I earned that one.
Sure.
I was in a hurry there. Yeah. And then had to drive from there all the way over to Lawrenceburg, Indiana to meet a customer, and then they were a total toolbox. And I got home at midnight that night, and I left for work at 7 a.m. And so I pretty much wanted to kill everybody at that point there. But the rest of the week, it panned out a little bit better. Things slowed down a little bit here. Made some money as it came out, so I'm okay with it. And in the end, in the immortal words of Ice Cube, today was a good day.
There you go.
For the week anyway.
So there you go, making some money just so you can pay that ticket you got earlier, right?
Yeah, pretty much my choice there, at least. That's going to be part of my paycheck anyway. I'm going to have to. They only gave me like 2 weeks to pay it, too. God, come on, guys.
That's Ohio for you. There are a bunch of jerks up there.
No. Shut up. I don't even talk about Michigan because I haven't set foot in the state. I'm not going to go there. We're not going to have this conversation.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
I'm surprised we haven't talked about that before. How well we actually get along being a Wolverine and a Buckeye here. This actually happens on a weekly basis. And no punches have been thrown yet.
I know. We'll just wait for the fall. That we'll
I emphasize yet.
Yeah. My week was pretty good. I'm less than 1 week out from the wedding, so that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to Days of Future Past next week, but we won't get to talk about it for another few weeks. But I am very excited. Everything is all laid out. I'm ready for vacation. We're booked. We've even checked in at the hotel in Jamaica.
How are you getting down there? Are you traveling Air Jamaica?
I have no idea what airline.
Because I hear they're kind of like the Bob Marley tour bus in the sky.
I have no idea. Should be exciting, though. Got a good show? Let's get into it. Listening to the InSession Film Podcast is episode 65. In order to defeat the monsters, we had to create monsters of our own.
Damn it, JD. How many times do I have to tell you this is not Pacific Rim?
Look, I'm tired of talking to you about this. I want my son. I want to see my son. I want to know that he's all right. This guy knows. He knows where he is. Muskua Tokoda. I want my son. And I want my bag and this. And I want to talk to somebody in charge, not you. No, not you. I'm done talking to you. All right? Well, you're looking at me right now like I'm in a fish tank, right? That's fine, because I know what happened here. And you keep telling everybody that this place is a death zone, but it's not. You're lying. Because what's really happening is that you're hiding something out there. I'm right, aren't I? My wife died here. Something killed my wife. And I have a right to know. I deserve answers.
All right, Godzilla is directed by Gareth Edwards and stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Bryan Cranston, and a whole bunch of other people as well. All right, guys, let's get into it. We'll start with you, Brent. What did you guys think about Godzilla?
This movie is hard to talk about because I went into it with some really, really, really low expectations, as I think most of America has. And with people like Bryan Cranston, there was no meth in this movie.
Nope.
no little blue rocks hanging out there. And Elizabeth Olsen, and I had no clue who any of the rest of the people were. Overall, it was better than my expectations, and it still wasn't awesome.
Well, I'm in total disagreement with you on that. I had big expectations for it, and it paid off to me so much. I loved almost every bit of it. Now, for every little gripe that I might come up with for a couple little story issues or whatever, when it came back around, the payoff was enough for me that I didn't care anymore because God friggin' Zilla. I loved the way that they treated it and everything. I think that I love Bryan Cranston's performance in this here. No meth, just method acting. Was great. I was incredibly let down by Aaron Taylor Johnson, though he was, as a lot of people said, very flat. I didn't believe his relationship either with his wife or his father, really, for the most part.
Yeah.
And I love Elizabeth Olsen, but I think that she was wasted by casting her because she didn't really have anything to do.
Yeah.
I like her, but why do that? That's the only thing that really didn't make sense for me. But the thing was, and we referred to it as a slow burn. They make you want to see it, kind of like when we talked about in the original 54 version. It was forever before we actually saw Godzilla on screen. It was just like one little quick scene of him kind of poking his head over the hill there. They had a lot of those moments where they kind of like saw just a little bit here and went back and forth with it and didn't show you anything. But again, for the payoff for me, I can't tell you the last time that I actually clapped and cheered and yelled during a movie. Sure. And maybe it's because we had a great crowd that was there as well.
Yeah.
When we went and watched it. But I mean, that was me. I would have done it. I went and watched it again on Friday night, and I was the only person doing that. So I still loved it. For me, I've been telling everybody still go see it. I love every bit of it.
No, you really took the words right out of my mouth. I was very excited for this too. I think a lot of the marketing leading up to it I thought was fantastic. And pretty much everything you said, Blake, I pretty much agree with. I think the build up to the monsters and to the Godzilla, I think, was absolutely paced amazingly well. I thought Bryan Cranston was incredible here. Much like you, though, I think once his character arc kind of crystallizes, I think the story pretty much takes a dive down from the human character perspective in some pretty big ways, because the film is at that point left on the shoulders of Aaron Taylor Johnson. Now, he's an actor that I like. I really love him in the Kick-Ass films, but here he was so dull and mundane, and he didn't know exactly what he wanted to do with that character, and that was a pretty big disappointment for me. I love Elizabeth Olsen. I completely agree. She's absolutely wasted here. The only thing she does in the second half of the film is fake pretend like she's running away from something, which obviously was a green screen, and you can tell by the look on her face that that's what was happening. But outside of that, I completely agree that the human characters are not very good here. But much like Pacific Rim last year, and as much as we joke about it, it's pretty much on the same level for me, where there's flaws. The human characters aren't portrayed well, but for the action pieces of it, for the monsters and what they're trying to portray on that level, I loved it for that. And I had a blast with it. I think Godzilla fans, I would think, would just have a ball, because I feel like they at least capture the essence of Godzilla over the years. And to me, I think that is the big thing here when you're getting Godzilla versus other creatures, plus all the things that you would think of as Godzilla is shown here. And I thought aesthetically he looked completely badass, and I loved it. I loved it for those reasons.
You see, and those are the places where I sit back and say, my problem with this movie going into it was, oh my gosh, how many times are we going to see big freaking monster destroys city?
Sure.
I mean, we saw it with Pacific Rim. We saw, everything. Just let's destroy another town. Why don't we? Oh my gosh, how many times I've seen that. And what I liked
For the entire version of our podcast, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher, or check us out online at InSessionFilm.com.